Welcome, Mark. Always great to see you.
Well, hello, Charlie. It's been 7 months since we did a show.
Isn't that incredible, hey? First of all, before we start, massive thank you for what you've done with my book. You were the one that came with the idea to do it, and Danusha was the one that put pen to paper to do the writing of it, but it was your idea and your plan that's been very successful and very well received. It wasn't something that I'd planned on doing, but it's come out well, and it's people are enjoying it because it's a little bit about telling my story as to where I've come from, what I've been through, and what are we going to. And we've been through a difficult phase for the last 16, 17, 18 months.
No shit.
And one thing that you've done, which is beautiful, is you've released a number of poems, some of which have got a very serious side to it, some of which have got a very fun side to it, but they seem to mix very well. And the one thing we need is a little bit of enjoyment and a little bit of a smiling in our lives, because even just a smile makes you feel better.
Absolutely. Well, I'm just going to, this is one thing I've learned. They don't like this. That gets rid of negative entities, which sometimes
a tuning fork.
It's a tuning fork. It's one of the, I don't want to go on about this, but tuning forks, sound healing has been a big part of my journey this year. Blah, 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 but that's another subject. But clearing negative, I mean, I got demonically attacked the other, when I first came on your show, I had no idea what I was going to say.
No.
And then I started talking about my first memory, which was being attacked by demons as a kid.
Yeah.
And then I found out that you knew the guy that molested my dad when I was in the 50s. And, it was all so many synchronicities that were crazy. And I got demonically attacked a few days ago, and it was the most evil, disgusting thing you can imagine. And all of this has been, and when I started talking about demons on your, and I cleared that, by the way, but when I started talking about demons on your channel, I had no idea what was going to happen, because I got contacted by so many people around the world who said, that happened to me. And then it's at that point that I realized how important doing, and with all the people that have branched off and done this work have all got very specific roles. And I have to say thank you to you, because I know how many unbelievable attacks you've been under, yet you still, your perseverance and tenacity has been extraordinary to witness. And I've sat back and watched that in the last 6 or 7 months, and well, the last year, and just been amazed by your courage. And I want to say to people watching this that we were all born into a demonic world, right? Yeah. We've all done and said things that we regret. And a lot of that has been because demons have been entity attachment. They've been whispering in your ear, made you do things, made you drink, made you take drugs, whatever. All of that, we're all guilty, right? Everybody. And this period that we've been in the last 18 months or whatever, has really been a spiritual quarantine. And it's been about everybody having the time to find out who they really are and to find their own truth. And what you've done, Charlie, is phenomenal. And so have lots of other people. There's been an amazing group of people, and it's really been a time of discernment, hasn't it? And standing in your truth and standing. And I know why God picked you, because everything's like water off a duck's back. You are tough as old boots, and and I found that in myself as well, because I've been attacked too, and I know other people who have as well. And it's really about just having the courage to stand up and say, well, this is who I really am. And to do that, you have to, and I want to tell you a little story. There's an organic market I go to on Thursdays, and there was a lovely woman in the queue, and she was talking to another woman, and she was going, well, you need to watch Charlie Ward because blah, 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 blah. And I was pissing myself because I was stood next to her. And I actually leaned over and said, hey, I know Charlie Ward. She went, what? It was really funny. So, yeah. You have no idea how many people you reach through this thing. What an unbelievable, to quote you, what an unbelievable journey it's been.
Very interesting what you said there about demonic things that we've done and said. And you just touched on a nerve there, because we used to say, when you've had a drink,
yeah,
you say things that you really mean. You don't actually. You're saying things that is demonic. That the bad spirit that you've been drinking, releases stuff that you shouldn't be going into. Yeah. And we're learning that we have a good spirit and we have a bad spirit. And alcohol obviously gives license to the bad spirit to say things that are wrong, that are not constructive. It opens up a destructive spirit. And you know, I look at you and I smile, because on this journey, people say, well, I've lost a lot of friends. And I can turn around and say, well, I've gained Mark Attwood. I've gained JCK. I've gained Al Pasani. I've gained Lee Hemington.
Yeah.
And I can sit back with pride and go, these are good people. These are very good people. So I've got no void of the ones that left me because they didn't believe it and they've had their vaccination and they're happy. And you just go, do you know what? It was time for a change. And the change has been incredibly positive. I've watched your relationship grow with JCK with complete and utter pride. The chemistry between you two is the same as I have with Mel K. It's two people just talking common sense. That's it. And people love that. And I think it's a huge credit to you and JCK, how you've managed to deliver a very, it doesn't conflict with what I do with Mel K. It's a different perspective, but it's shining the same light in the same direction, which is beautiful. Well, and those sort of relationships are wonderful to see.
I've done a lot of shows with Mel and I love Mel to pieces. And I stopped doing them for a bit. I just said, we just need a little hiatus, because I realized back at Christmas that I'm not doing the same job as you and Nick and other people.
No,
I'm doing a different job. And I didn't need to just keep doing a weekly roundup of the news, because that's not what I'm about.
No.
I mean, my show was called initially Adventures in a Meat Suit, because we are spirits having a human experience. We're ghosts in meat suits. And then that evolved into Adventures in a Cosmic Suit, because for me, this has just really been about this spiritual journey that we're on at the moment. And kind of, I'm not really interested in the facts and figures. I'm not interested in the money situation particularly.
Sure.
What I'm interested in is the fact that I've had some visions, and all the poems that I've done have all come through me. It's not me, it's come through me. And I got to tell you this, I don't care if anybody likes poetry or not. I strongly believe that the universe speaks in music and rhyme. And I know that for a fact. And one of the reasons why they've cut arts and they've tried to control art, Hollywood, and all the incredibly woke bollocks they've been putting on TV and theatre and music for the last God knows how long, is because they just know how powerful it is, and they just don't want it, right? Because it's the language of the universe, and art and comedy are the things that are going to get us through this. You know, if you haven't
100%,
keeping a sense of humor is just so important. It's like Dad's Army, you know, I don't like it up 'em.
Yeah, exactly. And how many people on the left have been offended by a sense of humor? I mean, can you imagine if Benny Hill came out nowadays?
It's funny you mentioned Benny Hill. Me and JT both love Benny Hill, and we've
he's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. No, but the left, the woke people, just like, that's disgusting. That still makes me laugh at 61 years old. It's still funny.
It is
and
funny.
Elf Garnett, Until Death Do Us Part, another one. You'd never get away with it nowadays, because the left would just strike it down dead.
Yeah, but they're missing the point. They've always missed the point, because they're demonically possessed.
Yeah.
And this is not, I don't see this as left and right. I don't see this as political. This is good versus evil, always has been. And everything in our lives has led up to this point. And, you know, one of the most, the Red Pill Revolution guys that you interviewed recently, I actually met them in person the other week. And what the interesting part of that is that one of the Red Pill guys is a guy that I've known professionally for 12 years. We've been good friends for years. 5 years ago, we had a lads meeting in Bath one weekend, and I was talking about the fact that the world was run by satanic paedophiles and they wanted us all dead, and look at the Georgia Guidestones, and he cut himself off from me.
Okay.
He couldn't cope with it. And then he turned, and now we're friends again, because he met these other guys that said the same thing to him, and then they published this book, and then I had a wonderful weekend with them last week in the UK, because that was, and I met my mum last week as well. Unfortunately, my mum decided to have the first vaccine without telling me. And I had a little shout at her, but God bless her. But I don't know. The vaccine thing is all of this is God's plan. Yes,
it is
100%. And I only know that because of my own personal phenomenon. I mean, I'm talking to stars now, Charlie, since we met. I'm talking to trees. They're talking to me. I saw a star the other week. I got sent an email by a subscriber. It was a friend of a subscriber saying, "You don't know me, but I just want to tell you, they know that you go out every night and look up." And I was like, okay, because I do. I mean, I used to be a pilot, you know that. I've seen hundreds of UFOs, if not thousands in my time. And she said, what they want you to do is start telepathically communicating with them. And when you get pulled to a certain star, just go left or right. Can you go left or right for me? And then move up and down. And then the star started doing it. Started doing what I asked it to do. And then it said to me one night, did you see that? And I went, yeah, I did see that. It was a flash over there. They said, did you see that? I went, yeah, I did see that. It was a flash. Then it said, are you afraid? And I said, no, I'm not. And it said, watch this. And then this light appeared in the sky, moved across, and then suddenly went flash, all silently, big white light. And there was this craft right in front of me. And then it just boom, went off like Star Trek. It was like, I was like that. That's the kind of thing, makes me sound like a nutter, I know, but is real, has really happened. And that's one of thousands of things that have happened. And what I've realized is, you know, if we talk about JCK, I was talking to her this morning. It doesn't matter whether you think we're nuts or not. What has happened and what you've done, and Mel K and Alpha and everybody else have saved lives. We've literally saved lives. I've had thousands and thousands of emails from people saying, you've literally saved my life. And it's like, that's so unbelievably humbling. And we're nobody. We're just ordinary people. That's the thing that the people who slag us off can't understand. They think there's some sort of club going on and everybody's colluding.
Yeah, exactly.
And when that couldn't be further from the truth. It's just.
I had a very, very unusual experience the day after my birthday, or 2 days after my birthday this year. So middle of June. And I was lying on my bed and I felt something happening to me. And then I felt all these like evil leaving my body. I could feel it going, and I could feel all this stuff, and it was like flying away. And I could feel this sense of relief as it was leaving for probably a minute or two. I could feel everything leaving. And then when it all left, I could feel my body relax. And then this bright light of sunshine shine into me. Yeah. And I was like, that was the most incredible experience of my entire life. And it was it was one of those things that only people who understand connection to a spiritual side would even contemplate that to be real.
Absolutely. And that's
those in the third dimension would just go, you're mad, mate, you're off your tits.
Yep. I know. And we're just ordinary blokes. We've drunk a lot of booze, we've been around with a lot of girls, we've done all of that stuff. And I think they said it about Trump. God doesn't pick the right person, he picks the right person for the job.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You know, and we're all flawed, every one of us. There's not a single person watching this who isn't flawed, but it's okay. And it's all about going inside. And when you go inside and you listen to your higher self and you listen to your angels and your spirit guides, because they're all real, you know. I can't, you know, if you said 10 years ago I'd be saying this on the internet, I'd have laughed at you. But it's
same.
It's true.
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
And you know, poetry makes you smile for all different reasons. I think I told you my old favorite poem as a child, that roses are red, violets are blue. Most poems rhyme, but this one doesn't.
Yeah, I love that.
I've liked that from a kid.
I know, I did that.
Child.
Yeah.
Because it's so simple.
Yeah.
And the simple things in life can make you smile. And if you smile, you feel better about life.
Absolutely.
It's a psychological thing.
No, it's been an incredible honor to be. I don't even know where these. I mean, I've been writing poetry since I was a little boy.
Yeah.
I was a published poet when I was 21, but I forgot about poetry. I just wasn't doing it. I was so busy being a dad, raising five.
Yes.
Business, money, business, all of that. And you know, it just didn't really happen unless somebody died, and then suddenly I'd write a poem or whatever. But it is amazing to be able to put this stuff together. I'm just going to tell you, I want to, you know, when as you're talking, I'm wondering, should I start with a heavy one or a funny one? But I've got to tell you this, one of just extraordinary. I wrote this poem, I think it was in September, called "We See You." You
love that one.
Well, you know, the first satanic ritual abuse marches started by Jeanette Archer, an SRA survivor, who was also a victim of Ted Heath, right? Prime Minister when we were younger. She did a march in London the other week, and people did it in Australia, in New York, and I got these emails from people saying that they'd read my poem out. Like loads of people have read my poem out in Australia, and I was like, oh my God, that is amazing. And if I died now, I've done something good in the world. And that poem, poem is that thing. It's a bit heavy to start with, though. I don't know if you want to start with something funny.
No, start with it. Start with that. Just go with it, Mark. Go with your heart.
Yeah, we'll go with that one first, because here we go. Let me just share screen and get it up. Oh, hang on. We see. Look at that. Don't know what I'm doing. So
you can share the screen with it if you want to.
yeah, it's on. So I've got this Linktree link, which is link linktr.ee/Mark Attwood poetry, capital M, capital A, capital P.
Yeah.
All of them are there.
Yeah.
Because I'm collecting them, because this kind of like these poems are kind of narrating the time. I'm just going to rewind that and large this up. Here we go. Can you see that?
Yep.
We see you. The scales have fallen from our eyes. The veil has drifted down from the sky, meandering firmly, finally revealing your depth of depravity. That's fear you're now feeling. We see you. Your demonic bloodlust laid bare to see, the statue of filth on the BBC, the prince and the madam, the crisper spy, the islands of horrors in the ocean lie. We see you. A billion souls stolen over the years. You hid them deep down to drown their tears. Perfect and innocent, God's own creations, mutilated by your sick machinations. We see you. Vlad the Impaler and his vile descendants, fleeing the palace from the 5D ascendants. The virus distracted, but gave us the time to peel back the layers of your heinous crimes. We see you. Run, run as fast as you can. Back for more orders from the Phoenician clan. Out of White Rabbit, the looking glass cracked. Tipping point reached, odds against you now stacked. We see you. Pizza and hot dogs, pasta and sauce. Your sickness decoded your lack of remorse. Our slumber is over, our eyes not wide shut. For the children of Haiti, a knife to your gut. We see you. Ascension is powered by the light of the flare. Scramble like rats to the ruins of your lairs. It's over, it's over. Save our children, we cry. Revealed, reviled. It's your soul's time to die. We see you.
Incredibly powerful. And it's very interesting, Mark, the amount of pressure I've come under from the deep state, the cabal, the secret services, and a gentleman, he's not even a gentleman, I don't know what he is, Matthew Harding, doing everything he can possibly do to stop us exposing the paedophiles, the underground dumbs, the children, the lengths that they go, the threats they come up with, the levels of depravity they fall to. And we know what's going on. We can see it, but they're desperate to stop the truth coming out. The one thing about conspiracy theory, the difference between conspiracy theory and truth is between 6 and 12 months. That's it. The truth is coming. And for those of us that are awake and aware, like Mark and I, we know the truth and we can see it. And that's why Mark has put this poem together, and it's bang on the money, Mark.
Yeah, thanks. It's always been, you know, for me, it's always been about the children.
Yeah.
When I decided to start the YouTube channel, I looked myself in the mirror and I was like, okay, what you're about to do, Mark, is put yourself right out there. And I said to myself, if I have to die to help this cause, because this is about the human race, then I was prepared to do it. And I've had threats and death threats and attempts on my somebody nobbled the fuel pipe on my car last year, and I was only saved because some guy pulled up next to me on the motorway. I'm not saying, oh, check me. I'm just like, this is a real war. This is a real war, and it's a spiritual war. So yeah, that I don't even know where that poem came from. I wrote it in about 20 minutes. It was unbelievable.
Amazing.
It was unbelievable.
It's interesting you talk about the attacks. It's like the attack on this eye.
Yes,
I was
mention that.
I've been told many times, if you stop doing the videos, it will get better. And I went, I've got no intention of stopping.
Yeah.
I'll deal with the eye later on in life, but at the moment there's a job to be done. Well, people said it comes from stress and all the rest of it. Yeah, there is a lot of stress that goes with it, but I'm built for it. I'm built for it. I'm prepared to take it. It's a bit like the soldiers at war where they get shot and carry on fighting.
Yeah,
exactly. And some just concede and run home. That's not me and it's not you. We're out there. And if we do get killed, then we'll have done some good. That's the important thing. My life is not that valuable. It's my family's life that are valuable, and I'll die for them if I have to provide a better place, a safer world for our children. That's what it's about.
Well, the demons come through your children. They come through people that you love. They look for your weakest point all the time, and that's where the war really is fought. Yeah. And I looked at it and I thought, well, it's going to go one of two ways. Either we're going into the golden age, or we're going into hell. Yeah. And I don't want to live there, so I'm going to fight this. Yeah. And if I'm right, I want my kids to look back and say, at least he did something. That's all I wanted to happen. Yeah. You know, because you've got to be prepared to die for this, because this is the future of all of us.
Well, you and I both know with our children that they all they want is mummy and daddy to be proud of them. That's what they want. What children don't understand is we want exactly the same. We want them to be proud of us. Yeah, it's a reciprocal agreement.
I'm halfway there. Some of my kids are and some aren't. But
oh yeah, exactly.
Hopefully they'll see one day. But anyway, so that's quite a heavy one to start with. As you brought up JCK, I'm going to play this one because she asked me to, and because I got permission to play this one. This was. Do you remember that song "Sunscreen" by Baz Luhrmann that got to #1 years ago, 20, 30 years ago? And it was like, all I got to do is tell you, use sunscreen. Do you remember that?
I remember I didn't listen to music or watch the telly until I was 23. 1983.
Most people watching will remember it. And I've been pissed off with that song for years because that was deep state propaganda.
Okay.
The last thing you should use is sunscreen, right?
Sure.
Because the sun is life. Yeah. So I wanted to rewrite it. And I said to JC, I want to rewrite this. And then I don't know how we managed to come up with this, but we found between us a piece of work by Spinoza from the 17th century, which was a very insightful thing about God. And it's called, we decided to call it A Word from God. And I'm just going to pull it up on the screen. And this is really, it started as me trying to rewrite Sunscreen, but ended up as this, which is a song more than a poem, because it's original music as well. I'm just trying to find the right button and it will be playing forthwith.
Stop praying. What I want you to do is go outside into the world and enjoy your life.
I want you to sing, have fun, and enjoy everything I've made for you.
Stop going into those dark, cold temples that you built yourself and saying that they are my house.
My house is in the mountains, in the woods, rivers, lakes, beaches. That's where I live. And there, I express my love for you.
Stop blaming me for your miserable life. I never told you there was anything wrong with you, or that you were a sinner, or that your sexuality was a bad thing.
Sex is a gift I have given you, and with which you can express your love, your ecstasy, your joy. So don't blame me for everything they made you believe.
Stop reading alleged sacred scriptures that have nothing to do with me. If you can't read me in a sunrise, in a landscape, in the look in your friends, in your children's eyes, you will find me in no book.
Stop asking me. Will you tell me how to do my job? Stop being so scared of me. I do not judge you or criticize you, nor get angry or bothered.
I am pure love. Stop asking for forgiveness. There's nothing to forgive. If I made you, I filled you with passions, limitations, pleasures, feelings, needs, inconsistencies, free will.
How can I blame you if you respond to something I put in you?
How can I punish you for being the way you are if I'm the one that made you?
Do you think I could create a place to burn all my children who behave badly for the rest of eternity?
What kind of God would do that?
Respect your peers and don't do what you don't want for yourself. All I ask is that you pay attention in your life. That alertness is your guide.
My beloved, this life is not a test, not a step on the way, not a rehearsal, nor a prelude to paradise.
This life is the only thing here and now, and it is all you need.
I have set you absolutely free. No prizes or punishments, no sins or virtues. No one carries a marker. No one keeps a record.
You are absolutely free to create in your life
Heaven
or
hell. I can't tell you if there's anything after this life, but I can give you a tip. Live as if there is not. As if this is your only chance to enjoy, to love, to exist.
So if there's nothing after, then you will have enjoyed the opportunity I gave you. And if there is, rest assured that I won't ask if you behaved right or wrong. I'll ask,
Did you like it? Did you have fun? What did you enjoy the most? What did you learn? Stop believing in me. Believing is assuming, guessing, imagining. I don't want you to believe in me. I want you to believe in you.
I want you to feel me in you when you kiss your beloved,
When you tuck in your child,
when you caress your dog.
when you bathe in the sea.
Stop praising me. What kind of egomaniac God do you think I am?
I'm bored being praised. I'm tired of being thanked. Feeling grateful? Prove it by taking care of yourself, your health, your relationships, the world.
Express your joy. That's the way to praise me.
Stop complicating things and repeating as a parakeet what you've been taught about me. What do you need more miracles for? So many explanations?
The only thing for sure is that you are here, that you are alive,
That this world is full of wonders.
Wow. You know what that is? For those who understand it, that's a first class ticket from the third dimension to the fifth dimension. That's incredible. That just lays out something so clean and so bare for the world to understand what truth is all about and not to be misled by what is man-made. Division. This just brings people together. If we could come together and enjoy each other's company without worrying, without fear. One of the features that people have noticed with me in my life, and one thing I've tried to keep to, is I don't look up to anybody and I don't look down on anybody. I try and treat everybody with respect. I try to. Some people who disrespect me get the same back. That's not always a good thing, but we're human. But this is about our spirits. And for those people, that was I just sat there and went, wow, 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 wow. Absolutely beautiful, beautifully put together, in harmony.
Well, you know, JC's voice is pure truth. You know,
Yep.
everything she does is, she's the biggest hearted human being I've ever had the privilege of knowing. And she's carrying the world in her heart. It's incredible to see the transformation she's made in people, the lives she's saved, and to be able to do something vocally with her like that was just incredible. Because I was speaking to somebody this morning saying they listened to it 10 times and they were crying their eyes out. That was just this morning. Like, so
That doesn't surprise me at all. Doesn't surprise me at all. It's a very, very moving, I was going to say poem, but it's a piece of art. A very, very moving piece of art.
thank you. There were a few other people involved in it as well. It was original music and everything else. And
yeah,
we had a good friend of mine, Roger, helped. He heard a few cuts and he was like, "That's not quite right," and he was involved. It was just wonderful.
brilliant.
Which is part of, you know, what you and me have been in business for 30, 40 years. And hasn't it been true that this is an incredible age of collaboration?
Yes.
I've loved that about the last year, because all the old ideas, I've flipped into it occasionally. Oh no. And then I'm going, hang on a minute, this is just about getting things done. You know, like how we did the book was such an incredible collaboration and quick.
Yeah.
You know,
incredible.
And you know, that was
this is a lesson to every single artist that's watching this. And for those that are not watching this, that have got friends who are watching, please tell every artist you know, we're coming into a world of abundance where the artists can put out their work without fear of, I can't survive financially. We're moving into a world of abundance. And I'm going to put this out there. For those people that were not as fortunate as us to be able to buy Zims, Dinar and Dong, to be able to help those that haven't, don't worry, just make yourself available, and we'll be looking out for people that we want to help to express themselves. And it will be falling at a number of people. You know, I've got around, I think we passed 15 million this morning followers, but we've got 6,000 that have registered that have got Zims, Dinar or Dong. That still leaves 14.5 million that maybe don't have, that will need looking after, that are in the right place, but they didn't get the opportunity for whatever reasons. But don't stress, because as we move forward into a world of abundance, people like Mark and I will be out there looking for people, and we'll stay in contact with people that just want to express themselves. You know, the amount of musicians that are on the street, and I'll be honest with you, some of these musicians on the street are 100 times better than some of these on these fabricated game shows.
Well, of course they are, because those fabricated game shows are run by fucking Satanists.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. And the ones you see on the street are so pure. I love watching the video of people like Seal, who's been up to a number of street performers and just joined in with them. The inspiration that is to them. I've always had a very warm place in my heart for Seal as a musician. I think he's a brilliant musician. And I loved when he split up with Heidi Klum. And one of his mates said to him, "So for what reason?" He said, "Well, she's German." And I thought that was just absolutely beautiful. For those who understand the difference between an English and a German, you sort of get it immediately. Well, you don't need to say anymore.
And it's not racist. Right?
It's not racist at all.
Get that out of your head.
Exactly. It's got nothing to do with race, color, or culture. It's just that we think in a different way. But one thing in defense of the Germans, if you want a car that's going to last you a lifetime, don't look for one made in England. Look for one made in Germany.
Oh, damn. I've got an English car, but that's another story.
I know, exactly. It's probably in the garage.
Yeah, don't say that. Don't jinx it.
Okay.
Right. I'm gonna
Anyway.
I'm gonna hit you with do you remember Peter Cook and Dudley Moore?
Yes, I do.
Right.
I absolutely love Cuddly Dudley.
Well, yeah, well, this one's do you remember Derek and Clyde?
No.
It was, well, I bumped into Peter Cook once in Hampstead Heath.
Okay.
And I was a big fan. And this isn't really a poem. This is me channeling Peter Cook, I think. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Here we go. This might divide the audience a little bit because it uses a word that we like in English.
Okay.
Few things you can say about this pandemic. But when it comes to the people involved in the attempted mass genocide of the human race, there is but one word that sums them up perfectly, and that word is cunt! 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 Super cunt! With his child trafficking dad cunt! Cunt! Dead cunt! Not dead cunt! Cunts! 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 Hitler cunts! Smug cunts! Cunts! Mutt cunts! Cunts! Dead cunts! Castro cunts! Cunts! Fuck off, you cunts! Mega cunts! Dead cunt that started all this. Did I miss anyone?
I know a lot of your audience will go, "That's terrible. I hate that word," but you know, sometimes
It sums them up. And
things need to be said.
yeah, no, this is exactly right. There will be those that will be offended by it, but you know, some will, some won't. Some people will get that because the message is very, very clear in there as to what we're up against, and there's no other word for some of these people.
Well, there might be other words, but I find that one the most expressive.
And for those who don't like the word, you can always say, "See you next Tuesday."
It just doesn't stand very well.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It gets the message out there. And I have a friend called Shnaizana, who actually lives in Dubai. She's one of the lion trainers and tiger trainers for the royal family, or was, and she's a very, very, very good friend of mine for 30 years. And that's one of her favorite words. And she always tells me that I'm her favorite cunt.
Exactly. We always, you know, I don't know. It's an English thing. We seem to be okay with the word more than other people.
My wife doesn't like the word, but she said when Shnaizana says it, it just seems to sound okay.
Yeah. It's all about intention. Everything's about intention.
It is. But no, very, very important message that these people are evil. And these are the people behind the lie and the depopulation agenda. And when people wake up to it, it may take a bit bad language. And for those people out there that who followed the theory for many years put out by the governments that bad language was showed a lower IQ, that's now been completely debunked.
Well,
the theory of that is completely wrong.
Well, I think you're going to like that. Yeah, I'm going to do this one next then because that. Where did it? There we go. This seems appropriate in that, based upon what you just said. I think it's one of the most popular ones, actually.
Okay, dear sheeple, you've had your fun. Now shit's about to get real. All that stuff you thought you knew, it's time you knew the deal. Your government lied, your TV lied, your system is full of shit. There is no virus and Joe Biden lost. Can you deal with it? Jimmy Savile was the tip of the berg. You're surrounded by paedophiles that steal and eat children in underground tunnels that go on for thousands of miles. David Icke was right. The Queen is a lizard. I'm sorry to break it so hard. Your life is a dream. The nightmare is real. And it's all in your own backyard. But you've had a good kip for most of your years. It's time to wake up and face up to your fears. You think the world's mad, and you'd be right. But it's madder than that. Better hold tight. When the truth is unleashed, it's going to hit home. All of this crap, one word, adrenochrome. In front of your face, hidden in sight. They call it white rabbit, but this bunny's a fright. So sick and depraved, so evil and cruel. So hard to believe we're taken for fools. In simplest terms, our children are food for underground demons who've had you wooed. They built up a system woven with spells, designed to deceive and delight. It's really a farm, with us as the cattle, our souls stolen in cover of night. In your heart of hearts, you know this is true, although it's a cross we must bear. It's time to stand tall and choose your side. Do it with love and a prayer. God's had enough and sent some of us down to help all our spirits develop. The darkest day is almost here. It's time to wake the fuck up.
Bang on the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely bang on the money. And it's not going to be easy, because I've said it many, many times. It's very, very easy to be scammed, to be conned. But it's very, very hard to be convinced that you've been scammed or conned or whatever, because pride comes in. And that's difficult. But yes, you're absolutely right. There's those of us that are out there that are trying our level best to get the truth out there. It's not been easy by any sense of imagination, but we'll carry on fighting. I was built for this.
I know you are. It cracks me up. One of the things they accuse us all of is grifting. They don't even know what the word grift means. And it's like, whenever you're being slagged off, it's usually a reflection of what's going on inside of them anyway. So
yeah.
But you know, I wrote that one. I think that was before Christmas, and then I realized, you know, people just aren't waking up. They're doubled down.
Yeah,
they're doubled down. They're not just they're in, like Huxley said in A Brave New World, they will enjoy their incarceration and their incarcerators.
Yeah,
the medical tyranny. He wrote that 100 years ago, and it's just astonishing to still see they're doubling down. And it's really God's plan, because we're being given the choice. Everybody's got access to the same information, and it's a time of intuition, and there's a time of discernment. And if they can't work it out, it's hard for me to feel compassion for them. I do still try to keep that in my heart, but what I've realized in the last 6 months, it's really about discovering ways of healing now, because it's going to be a time of great healing that's coming. We are going to see a lot more deaths, I think, and I'm hoping there's going to be a good outcome, but it could be much worse before it gets better.
I had a very interesting conversation with a friend of mine that I've known for 20 odd years. I knew her as a single girl. I've known, I drove her to her wedding. She's now got 3 children. And she thinks I'm a little bit nuts, but she thinks there's something in there that's rings true. So what she's decided to do, and I think this is quite good. It's not going the whole way, but it's quite good. She said, I've turned off the television, no longer interested in that.
Yep.
I've focused on my husband and my children.
Yep.
Forget everything else outside, not interested.
Yeah.
Not interested in what they're saying or what you're saying. My focus is my husband and my children. I thought, do you know what? That's a wonderful foundation from where to start.
Absolutely.
And a lot of families could learn an awful lot from that. Focus on your families. Forget all the shit that's going on out there. Mark and I will deal with that side. And sooner or later, you'll understand that the fight was worthwhile. But if you focused on your family and keeping your family together and sharing love in your family, then you will find it very easy to transition from darkness into light.
That's the key. You just said it. Everybody has to focus on love.
Yeah.
It's a choice between fear and love, and it's never been stark, as Bill Hicks said, it's never been starker a choice than it is right now.
Sure.
And you just said from dark to light, and funnily enough, I've got a poem. It's quite funny, this. I've got a poem for everything you're saying. Weird, isn't it?
Well, is it weird or is it harmony?
Well, that's the thing. Here we go. This was dark to light.
From dark to light. Our perception of time was most sublime when we were first told to hold the line. The virus, it came with multiple names. We knew this was no Valentine. The Mandela effect was in full flow. We wanted the truth, we needed to know. Warriors rose in life and online. Popcorn was popped, enjoy the show. Truth was the enemy of the state, causing division and hate in its wake. Repeating the lies again and again, we all knew deep down the news it was fake. Some of us slept and put on false masks, for fear of fear in itself. Fooled by the demons that ran amok, unaware of our sovereign wealth. The longest war was spiritual fight. we roared like lions with the valor of knights. The royal star it lit up so bright in this journey from dark to light. In the 11th hour, one man had the power to transform all the hope into love. It tested us all as the veil did fall, and the light it did shine from above. As everyone clamored for new information, destroying the evil at last. The spider was pierced and squealed in pain. Its web of deceit was so vast. They sent out their hexes to Earth's solar plexus, but failed to kill Christ once again. The oil of the chrism did rise to the right and defeated the quadruple horsemen. Apocalypse came with great revelations of heavenly secrets no more. Our hearts were cracked wide, all hate moved aside as we pushed on the open door. The longest war, this spiritual fight. We roared like lions with the valor of knights. The royal star it lit up so bright in this journey from dark to light. The road it was tough, we lost many friends. In transition we fell on our swords. At the last minute, we rose from the dead in defiance to the dark overlords. The keys to the matrix were in the right hands and found in the portal of ice. Some called it AI, a black forest pie. The deafening bell it rang twice. Divided no more, we came to implore for justice for all the lost children. The guilty were found so deep underground, our prisons we knew we should fill them. The dream of Jassara, it couldn't come faster, as all of the debts they were paid, our souls reconstructed, our contracts retracted, we stood tall and no longer afraid. The longest war, this spiritual fight. We roared like lions in the valor of knights. The royal star it lit up so bright in this journey from dark to light.
Yeah, 100%. For those people who understand this journey from darkness to light, there's been a lot of darkness. There's been a lot of darkness on the way out. As you come out of a tunnel, your eyes need to adjust. It's very much that process we've been through. We're just there trying to guide people out of the darkness into light. A lot of people were unaware as to how dark the dark could be. But we've seen it on this journey, and the joy, if you like, of leaving that dark place and exposing it on the way out to make sure that people understand where we've come from. Because I've always been a person that needs to understand where we've come from to know where we're going. The governments who've run us for many, many years have tried to hide our history by changing the names of Saigon to Vietnam and Bombay to Mumbai and these different countries, thinking we wouldn't know any different.
Well, you know, not just that, the whole of human history is a lie.
Yeah.
People should look up to Tartaria and go and look at Michael Tellinger's work.
Yes.
About the giants were real. So much is just, they designed a farm. You know, we were born into a farm.
Yes.
And they fed off us. And in order to do that, they had to lie to us on such a scale, it's unimaginable.
Yeah.
And I attempted to chronicle that in this one.
When you lied, when you took the cross and turned it upside down, when you fed the masses with fluoride and modified the crown, when you dimmed the light of the incandescent first eye, when you lied, when you put the eye on the dollar from Saturn's raging storm, when you placed black cubes into the hearts of people torn, when you pulverized the twins in New York and old Babylon died, when you lied, when your intentions in granite were laid, we saw who you were, who you are, when you summoned your Lord Beelzebub who has served you, so you thought, so far. When you hid the past from our story and the tears of the giants that cried, when you lied. When you stole the gold from the earth and divided its people with myths from the pit. When you placed false monarchs on thrones whose essence was pure counterfeit. When you stole the magic of words with the breath of the wizards that sighed. When you lied. When you tried to kill us with hate, with distance and muzzling masks. We awoke to your nonsense and lies and realized your death was our task. When you knew it was time for defeat, the piper no longer was pied. When you died.
Yeah, this is something that is always hard to wake up to, is to the fact that people that we trusted, and I mentioned this quite a bit in the last week or so, we've trusted our doctors, we've trusted our media, we've trusted our politicians, and now we found out that they've all lied. And they've done it with a purpose. They've done it with a plan. And this is what you and I are exposing, along with many other digital warriors out there that are exposing the truth. And of course, they'll attack us for that because their plan is falling apart.
Certainly is. And what I found interesting, you remember when the inauguration happened and there was just like, the whole truth community was like, oh shit, it just was, because they're all expecting mass arrests and all of that. And I thought, very, very interesting period since then and now. And I called it the Great Divide, because this is when they attempted to demolish truth seekers by inserting people with phenomenal backstories that, you know, that talk complete sense for 99% of the time, but they're dropping in stuff. And it's been a really strange period in that respect, because it's been like, for people doing what we're doing, it's been like, well, hang on, who do I trust here now? Because, you know, it's like, because there's no depth that they won't go to stop what's coming.
Sure.
So I called that the Great Divide, because and it's also, I've done another poem that I've not finished yet called the In Between Time, but this is where we're at.
Sure.
The Great Divide. From the fake inauguration through the month of trepidation, as the prophets flailed and predictions failed, divided were the nations. As the truthers ate each other and the cowards ran for cover, the doubts did rise through anxiety's surprise. Do we still trust one another? The world was held betwixt the spells, split in half by COVID grafts, and needles full of hell for cells. As families split and friendships died, the line was held by those compelled to stand in faith and with hope abide. In the age of trolls with empty souls, the fear did rise to no surprise, like a food bag full of empty bowls. Now in the storm, some felt forlorn. This plan was hard and emotions jarred. This rebirth like a crown of thorns. Steadfast beings held on to belief, no surrender to useless grief. Loins girded hard, with feathers tied. They held the light like warrior chiefs. The God spark inside, it never lied. To those with ears who held back the tears, like King Canute with the ocean tide. The storm was here. The few held it dear. For the full reveal, we knew the deal of the trump cards that were so near.
Exactly. Some great poetry there. And this is the only way that they can continue, is to keep trying to divide us. And we've seen it with the vaxxers, the non-vaxxers. We've seen it, as you mentioned there, with the truthers, those that pretended that they were on the side of truth, that were just infiltrated, there to divide, come in and do as much damage as they could, because that's the easiest way, is to infiltrate the truth seekers. They've come in there pretending. This is how Satan has always worked in history, is to infiltrate and pretend. We use the saying, the grass is always greener. That's Satan making it look greener, the other side, but it's not. It's
absolutely not. And it's it just gets better and better. Actually, it's been a hell of a ride. But there was Tolkien in that previous video, and I heard an interview with Tolkien from 1957, I think, in Amsterdam, and he said to a room full of people that the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings was based on the true history of Earth, and I thought this was fascinating. So I went back and watched the films, and then I noticed that the book was called the Hobbit was writing was called There and Back Again, and I was like, oh, this is interesting, because really all of this journey is about finding out who you are. And Tolkien embedded it in all of his stuff. In fact, I live near the cave of Gollum, which is because this is Middle Earth in Ireland, in the west of Ireland.
Yeah.
So this is a short one called There and Back Again, which I have to say about these videos. I've had a bit of help with these videos. A young filmmaker called Kieran Casey, who's just made a video about knife crime in Ireland. It's just been nominated for an award at the film festival, and he's just been. I just want to thank Kieran and his brother Joe for helping me with the work on this. And this one in particular, he put together, and it's beautiful. If I can find it, There and Back Again. There it is, and it's a short one. This, so here we go.
There and back again. Ma ha ka wa ta he ta wa ka ha ma. There and back again. Do you see? Multi-dimensional beings are we. From the energy of the first light, through the calendar of the light of days, with the veil down, we were in a haze. 1 to 10 and back again. In the darkness we held each other tightly until the light came. The dragon blood, the Taki, the Akashic potentiality. At the speed of memory, we came. There and back again. From the I am to the we are. We came far, there and back again.
Yeah, it's our journey, you know.
Isn't it just?
Back to finding out who we really are.
And a lot of people still don't know who they are, and still haven't found out who they are. One of my favorite things on this whole journey that I've reflected on was what John Cleese said many years ago, that out of 1 million seamen, you were the one that survived.
You were the fastest swimmer.
You were the fastest swimmer. So you were born a winner.
Yeah, absolutely.
If everything's gone wrong in your life, you've only got one person to blame, that's yourself, because you were born a winner. But you need to find out what you are. And every single person has what I would say isn't equal value. We're all pieces in the puzzle. We just need to find out what piece and value ourselves as a piece of that puzzle. I've done huge puzzles as a child growing up. When you don't have a television, you have to entertain yourself other ways. And big puzzles were things that we used to do. And it doesn't matter how glamorous the puzzle is. It could be a 10,000, 20,000 piece puzzle. If there's one piece missing, it's not complete.
It's funny you say all of that because, firstly, that joke was used against me because I was by Dave Spikey in Peter Kay's Phoenix Nights, because I was in an episode of that. And he said, "Of all the sperm, you were the fastest swimmer," which was funny.
Yeah.
But I had this vision of all of this being a multi-dimensional chessboard, right? A multi-dimensional, and we're all multi-dimensional beings. And I felt very strongly that all of us, not just me and you, everybody watching this, is being given the option, moving around exactly as we're meant to be to achieve the objective, which is such a massively complicated thing. And there's only one result, and that result is that God wins. And I wrote this one right at the beginning of the pandemic. And I'm pretty proud of this one. I think I had to put this on the ones on BitChute, the ones that got, because my YouTube channel got taken down.
Yeah.
So these ones on BitChute are the ones that got taken off the first channel, but here it is.
Lockdown, shutdown, breakdown. Lockdown, shutdown, breakdown. Lockdown, shutdown, breakdown. 15 days to flatten the curve. The invisible enemy, you've got a nerve. Don't go to work, take a break. Here's some free money, shut up and eat cake. Bread and circuses, that's what she said. I get the feeling she wanted us dead. Wanted us in the ICU. Yes, I do mean you and you and you. Get them hooked up to a ventilator. Kills them quick. See you later. Lockdown, shutdown, breakdown. Lockdown, shutdown, breakdown. Lockdown, shutdown, breakdown. Masks are good, masks are bad. I can tell by your eyes you're looking sad. Madonna's singing about fried fucking fish. Hanks has put Cappy in a petri dish. Alan Degenerate going mad in his pad. Let's talk about Michelle. Now there's a big lad. Stay in, or you're gonna die. COVID-19 is the porky pie. That's what we call the theatre of war. Don't question us, it's the fucking law. Sick of it yet? We've just begun. JFK Jr., the forgotten son. Lockdown, shutdown, breakdown. Lockdown, shutdown, breakdown. Lockdown, shutdown, breakdown. Bill, Melinda, and Dr. Death. Needles everywhere till there's none of us left. Vaccination, eradication, extermination. Go to 17 for your education. Hubba, 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 who do you trust? Maybe the dams are gonna bust. Underground bases, dums. Secret operations, cleaning the scum. 22,000 kids every day. Believe it or not, you need to pray. Welcome to the nightmare, the new world order. Hidden in bushes, mental disorders. Lockdown, shutdown, breakdown. Lockdown, shutdown, breakdown. Lockdown, shutdown, breakdown. 3D, 5D, reality tears. Attack of the clones in basements everywhere. Vatican gone, Parliament gone. God save the Queen, time for a new song. Through the looking glass, the quantum system grins. I've got some non-fake news for you. God wins.
Yeah.
You want to believe that. You want to believe that. God, it's not a question any longer of God wins. God has already won. And we can sit back and just enjoy the pantomime as it plays out for those people that have woken up to the truth. God was never going to lose this one, but he wanted to expose the evil, because most people wouldn't have ever believed that these people would have done it. And I've heard it so many times. So you're telling me that they're trying to kill us? I said, do your own research. The research that we've done shows exactly that. Why would you insist on vaccinating people or jabbing people with something that has not been approved by the FDA, that hasn't been gone through the process, only for emergency use? Why would you put the countries into a state of emergency to force it through? Why would you do that? It's not for your own good. I'm very fortunate. I'm one of these people that have never had a vaccine of any kind. I was in a religion at the time that they were against having the vaccine until I was 23. And then for about 10 years, I was scared of needles.
Well, it's all on purpose, you see.
Because it is. Yeah.
It's God's plan, you know.
It was God's plan.
Um,
And then when I went into Africa, I found that $100, and I wasn't, because I'm still scared of needles.
got you a fake
$100.
certificate.
Sorry?
Got you a fake certificate. I'm finishing your sentence, I'm guessing.
$100 for a fake certificate, yeah. But yeah.
I bought a few of those myself, Charlie. So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's like dodging bullets all the way through, isn't it?
Isn't it just? You didn't know why, and now you do.
Well, you know, I caught my mum lying about the vaccine, and I looked her in the eye and I said, "Did you have the vaccine?" She went, "No, I didn't." I went, "Mum," and she told me, and there was just this moment where I said, "Why did you have it?" She went, "You didn't tell me not to." I said, "I got a whole fucking YouTube channel talking about not having the vaccines," and she went, and she just turned to me and just said, "I was scared."
Yeah.
And I was like, oh God, because I forget. It's easy to forget that people are scared, right? Because
Sure.
I'm not scared.
Sure.
So it's hard to relate to that sometimes. But I do believe that not all of them are real. Not all of them are the disastrous DNA altering nightmares. And
No, I've known that for a while. The first one is never bad. It's the second one that's the most dangerous, apparently. It's the most changing. The first one is more of a saline, but for those people who've been caught, and it's the one thing I've learned on this journey, and it goes back to my naughty days, when judges say ignorance is no defense, and I just remind people of that. In law, ignorance is no defense. That goes for all the teachers out there who've made children wear masks in school and broken down their immune system. All those headmasters who've forced vaccination on their teachers and on pupils. Your day will come. You'll have to face up to the fact, and don't stand there and go, "Well, I was told to do it."
No.
That won't wash in a human rights court.
Or,
you are responsible.
Or in the courts in heaven, because
Correct.
this whole thing is Judgment Day.
It is. This is Judgment Day.
It's not one day. This whole thing is Judgment Day.
Correct.
I was talking to JC this morning about the fact that one of the things that's happened to me in the last year is I've been getting all these random memories of things that I've done in my life, and I've been like, "Oh, what's that about? Oh, I've got to process. Oh, I did that thing wrong. I remember 25 years ago or 5 years ago, whatever." And I've gone through all the emotions of that time and relived it. And this is very similar to what the Egyptians talk about when they used to go through the Day of the Dead, and they'd have to have, I can't remember the name of the crocodile face god, and they'd have to hold your heart in the hand, and it must be the same weight as a feather, no heavier, no lighter. And really, that's what I think is going on. And JC agrees, and she's done a video about it. That this is Judgment Day. This is by the time you get to the end of this, have you reconciled? Have you cleared your karma? Have you made amends wherever you can? Are you doing the right thing on a daily basis? Are you living in integrity, and are you living in truth? And that's what this is all about. For every single human being on this earth, and we all chose to be here.
Sure.
So there and back again is exactly what's going on, because you're just remembering who you are. Gareth Ike wrote a great song called "Remember Who You Are," based on his dad's book like 10 years ago. Everyone should go and watch it. It's brilliant. And that's what this is about. It's remembering who you really, really are. Your soul, your essence, your eternal self. And that's the other thing. Nobody actually dies. So death is not what we think it is. So how are we doing for time? Because I know that you're a busy man, and this is probably going on longer than your normal show.
Yeah, I can always do another one with you, but yeah.
Well, I know.
I have no problem, because I think this is very, very constructive.
Well,
it does it with humor.
Well, one of the things I'll do a couple more. One of the things that I suffered with throughout my life was that I'd said at the beginning, this like demonic possession. It's also referred to as black goo. If anybody's done much research, you'll know what I'm talking about. So this is a quick one. It's not a very pretty video because I just threw it up, but I think it's very, very important. In fact, one person watched this and said that I was causing some emotional issues because she watched this video, which is actually a big compliment because it's supposed to be like that. So I'll just play this with this not big one, but the blackest goo is this one.
the blackest goo. The blackest goo, it comes at you under cover of night. It whispers gently in your ear. It takes away your light. To loving friends, you look the same, but your essence is gone. Where once was high definition is now a picture faintly drawn. The words you speak are incoherent. Your song is out of tune. Its darkness consumes and eats away till you're wailing at the moon. It tricked you into believing that all you say is true while salivating on your soul. Beware the blackest goo.
Yeah, a little bit dark, but it's everybody's got to be aware of this AI. This ancient AI is the black goo. It's in the ether. It's all around us. It's the trap that we've been put in, and it infiltrates us. But we all have the strength by vibrating higher. That's what all this is about. Is preparing us to vibrate at the frequency that we need to go into this what people call 5D. You can call it
one point there that's very, very, very important is between good and evil, artificial intelligence, AI, is on the side of evil. Quantum consciousness and quantum banking, quantum financial system, quantum is all on the positive and good side. People try and make them link in the same. They're not the same thing. One is on the side of evil. It's artificial. It's in artificial intelligence, whereas quantum consciousness is something completely different. It understands your thought process, whereas artificial intelligence just creates what they think you're thinking.
I remember my mum telling me when I was a kid at Sunday lunch saying, God is everywhere. God knows everything. I think she was just telling me so that I'd be a good boy. And I just remember going to her, what, is he in the Yorkshire pudding? And she said, yeah. I was like, oh my God, he's everywhere. Oh, I better behave myself.
Yeah.
And then I forgot about God. After my dad died, I just said, right, forget this. And I forgot all about it. And I was like, I hate, how could God do this? Right.
Yeah.
But believe me, it's real.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end on a high note, Charlie.
Yep.
Now I've got to give credit to Lee for this because he rang me up one day and he said, why don't you do a poem called The Best Is Yet to Come? And I went, that's a good idea, Lee. I will. So here it is somewhere.
This is dedicated to Lee Hemington, yeah?
Yeah, and Donald Trump, of course.
Yeah.
The best is yet to come. In the days of future past, we'll look back on the storm when the world was wearing masks and America was torn. When 5D chess was played with such finesse, when criminals floundered and were left to guess. Their codes were broken, their weapons gone. Flynn's digital soldiers marched to the song of QAnon. The song of freedom, the song of love, the song of unity from heaven above. When once we stared down the barrel of the gun, one man proudly said, the best is yet to come. We gathered closely in the end of days, fighting for our rights. When this virus washes through, it'll be like a burst of light. With golden hearts we raise the earth into the Aquarius age. Phoenicians gone and demons run, we broke out of our cage. King Cyrus rose to take the fight to the fiends of Babel once again, removing fear and usury, the chains that held down men. The song of freedom, the song of love, the song of unity from heaven above. When once we stared down the barrel of the gun, one man proudly said, the best is yet to come. In the time of revelations, the devil's hand was shown. His heinous crimes against mankind finally were known. As the great awakening gathered speed, as the veil had turned to dust, new heroes forged and laws were made that finally were just. From Guantanamo Bay to the last hooray, the serpents were all done. The shots heard round the world, and the end of Babylon. The song of freedom, the song of love, the song of unity from heaven above. When once we stared down the barrel of the gun, one man proudly said, "The best is yet to come." In God we trust and trust the plan. Our faith was tested hard. We held on tight to the might and ran the final yard. The looking glass, it showed the way when everything seemed lost. Survival of the human race at monumental cost. The storm it came, and when it did, you said it was upon us. We held the lights for the golden age, a manifested promise. The song of freedom, the song of love, the song of unity from heaven above. When once we stared down the barrel of the gun, one man proudly said, "The best is yet to come." The sword of the spirit and the shield of faith, extinguishing the arrow's fire. Finally, the sons of Cain laid on the funeral pyre. Bittersweet the victory was. In righteous grace we thanked you. We raised our heads and looked ahead to sovereign times anew. The quantum era and Tesla's dreams finally found their way. In fireside talks far in the future, we know our children will say, the song of freedom, the song of love, the song of unity from heaven above. When once we stared down the barrel of the gun, one man proudly said, "The best is yet to come."
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. I know an awful lot more than I can say, but we're moving into a world of abundance and the golden age, and everything is completely and utterly under control. And in your earlier poem, God Wins, God has already won. Everything has been done. We're now playing out the final stages of the pantomime, but it's so exciting to see what's happening right now. Things are moving on behind the scenes at one hell of a pace, but nothing in plain sight just yet.
Well, I said this last year that if you're wrong, we're all dead anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
What's to worry about?
Yeah, exactly right. That and if we're all dead and we go to heaven, we're in a better place anyway.
I'll see you in the bar.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I heard St. Peter makes a great cocktail.
Well, I know that Jesus turns water into wine, so
well,
we're set up for life.
I've used that argument for a few years. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I drank too much wine, I think. But
yeah.
I know, some people watching this might say there's no such thing as QAnon. It's Q or you're a non. But well, a lot of these things were just bunged out. I was in a massive rush to get a lot of these out.
Sure.
Misspellings and this, that, and the other. But it's
the spirit of it.
Yeah. Any artist watching this, if you've got something, I mean, that poem there has been turned into song by loads of people. It's just mind blowing.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Well, Mark, it's a real pleasure to see you again. We haven't done it, as you said, 7 or 8 months. It's amazing.
Oh, where's it gone?
I know. And I'm still loving it. I'm still ready. I'm still waking up every morning, excited. Well, I got a phone call this morning, which was super exciting. So yeah, everything's positive.
I think the final thing really is that we're not going to be judged by trolls. We're not going to be judged by comments and videos. We're not going to be judged by anything other than which side of history we chose to stand on.
Correct.
And that's for everybody on this planet.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're still wearing a mask, take it off.
Mhm.
Be lawful, be peaceful, but start standing in your power. That's what we've got to do.
Yep. Perfect. Mark, thank you very much. Great to see you. Lots
too,
of love
bud.
to you and your family.
Thank you. Take care, mate.
Cheers, buddy.
See ya.